Happy New Year. I can't even believe it's 2017, and I am, for one, for many reasons, very excited about this year. I think there's going to be a lot of good things happening for all of us. What is this? This is January 14th. Has anyone done any New Year's resolutions? A few? No? A few. All right. Well, when Rose invited me to come here, I'm glad that it happened to be in the month of January, because this is often a time when we do take stock of the past a little bit. What went well? What's maybe some things we would like to do better or change up in our lives a bit? And we get a fresh slate, right? And so here we are in January together, and I was thinking, okay, Rose, what should I talk about? And she's like, Debra, you're great, just talk. I'm like, okay, Rose, that really helps. So I know I just have a precious few minutes with you all here this morning, so I thought I would talk about 3 things. One, that we need never feel stuck in our lives, no matter our circumstances, no matter where we are in our lives, no matter our age, whatever. We never need to feel stuck. We can always make meaningful change if we choose to. And we're blessed enough to live in a free country where we can do that. We can change careers. We can move across the country. Okay, so that's the first one. And second, I would like to talk a little bit about courage. Choosing courage as our compass. Moving towards courage. And third, and these all really tie in and work together. Third, God, faith, whatever our religious background, connecting to that higher power, our higher selves. Actually, really, I know that's the foundation of the other 2. Because without that, nothing else really works, does it? So I'll start with that. Just taking care of our spiritual lives. Whether that's starting the morning off with a little prayer, or writing in our journals, or spending time with our lady friends and taking walks and being out in nature, just taking care of that part of our lives. So once we do that, and we get calm, and we get still, then we can listen, and we can really hear the stirrings in our heart. We can hear, courage. I've always found the word courage to be an interesting word, because I used to study French, and le coeur is heart. Le courage is out of it, or we're sort of on the sidelines, and we're really not doing what we know we ought to do. We're stuck here. We're not here. We're stuck here. We're afraid. We're resisting, and that's all in the mind. But change, meaningful change, comes from our hearts. So I can look within each of you and look in your eyes, and I can tell you, I can speak about this from my heart because I've lived it. Courage has always been a bit of a challenge for me. I have, especially in my younger years, I've been challenged with anxiety, which was a big part of my blogging, was writing about not being able to sleep at night because my mind is active. I just think, just think a lot. I have a little bit of social anxiety in large group settings, and that's something that keeps me up at night. And so this has always been a very challenging thing for me, is courage. And maybe not taking certain risks because I'm scared. I was always a little bit of a perfectionist growing up. I was always the perfect little Debbie. I was one of those kids in school. I loved school. And I was always in the front seat. And whenever the teacher asked the question, I was one of those little girls with their hand right up. Okay, that was me. And my teachers adored me. And I think at a very early age, that kind of stuck with me, and I almost became dependent on that. Dependent on that approval, that love and adoration that I received at a very early age from my teachers, and that stayed with me. And although I did not start life fearful, I really did not, I wasn't scared of the dark like some kids are. I wasn't scared of ghosts or anything like that, but I was very sensitive. And as I got older, and as I became a teenager and a young woman, I became very sensitive to how I appeared to others, what people thought of me was all consuming, and it resulted in a lot of sleepless nights. And I finally, at a later time, started my blog and just sharing with other women out there my challenges with sleep and anxiety, and it has been very healing. Through writing, I feel like I'm getting healed, and I found my voice. And it has opened up so many doors to me that I can't even tell you, ladies. It's just a very exciting time. I'm 50 years old, right? I just turned 50 in September, and I can tell you this is honestly the best time of my life. I've never been more excited. I've never felt so comfortable in my own skin. And so when I tell you that you can make change in your life, you never need to be stuck, I know it to be true for every one of us in this room because I've done it. Starting at an early age, when I first graduated from law school, I literally, May of 1991, I graduated, this was at University of Oklahoma, graduated one day, got married the next, spent a week in Hot Springs, Arkansas on our little honeymoon, and then we packed up all of our bags, left Oklahoma City, and went across the country to Seattle. And started my romantic, I just had this romantic idea that I wanted to raise my babies in the Pacific Northwest. I wanted the mountains, and I grew up in Hawaii, so I kind of miss being on a coast. So we did that, and it was great. And then later, I decided, and this as a Girl Scout later, I'm like, I want to do this, working with the youth and working with the kids. I just love this. And so I went back to school. For 2.5 years, it was a very rigorous program to become a teacher. In many ways, I think it was harder than getting my law degree. It was tough. And then all of the exams they had you go through and all the hurdles, it was a very, I sacrificed a lot to become a classroom teacher, I really did. And when I got through that program, I'm still up in the Seattle, Washington area, I had a decision to make. It was time to get a job, okay? And I needed to decide, do I look for work and get a teaching job there in Seattle? Or I have a little brother, Scott, who at the time was living right here in Atlantic Beach, and for years, we'd back and forth. So I'm up in Seattle, Scotty's here in Atlantic Beach, and he's like, Debbie, the sun shines down here. Come on down, the sun shines. And I'm like, but Scott, my brother's a real IT computer guy. I'm like, Scott, Microsoft, right? Microsoft, come on up, because we're just so far away. It's like I'm up in the Northwest, my brother's down here in Florida. My mom and dad are in Oklahoma City. You couldn't be more spread out than my family, right? Well, the sun went out, and long story short, I just made my mind up really fast. I'm like, okay, I'm going for it. And so I asked my husband, he's like, Debbie, go. So I bought a one-way ticket. This was July of 2006. I bought a one-way ticket to Jacksonville with just a couple of bags in my hands. My husband had to clear out, he had to spend some time up there for several months to close his law firm, his law practice up there, and sell our home. I lived with my brother here in Atlantic Beach. So Atlantic Beach, this is really my home. This is where I first landed. Me and my brother a few weeks later so they can start their school year here in Florida. But this is how it happened, and I remember this because it was my mom's birthday. I landed on a Wednesday, July 24th, 2006. I got a call the next day from Crown Point Elementary in Mandarin. A teacher had unexpectedly retired, and they needed someone, so I went, and they're like, would you be willing to come in for a Saturday morning interview? I'm like, okay, yes. So I did, and they hired me. And that Monday, and that particular, I don't know if you ladies remember, but that school year, Duval County Public Schools started really early. The teachers reported like August 1, and the kids started on August 8. I'll remember that. This is my first year teaching. It's like it happened yesterday. So I got a job and started teaching, and so things just kind of fell into place. And up in Washington, even though I was very young and I always had my health, I was really experiencing some funny health symptoms. And I think a lot of it really was the climate. I was getting achy joints, and at one point I even thought I had MS. I was having really funny neurological symptoms, little tingly sensations in my back and tingliness in my feet. And I went to see so many doctors, and no one could diagnose me with anything, which I guess is a good thing. But I just really wasn't feeling that well. And I can honestly tell you, as soon as I can. And I had started the blog while I was teaching school back in 2010. The Warm-Up Journal is 7 years old now. In February, it'll be 7 years old. And really, at heart, I'm a writer. I'm a teacher also, but that was really my passion. And so I had the blessing of time off as a school teacher. So I had those 2 months off where I got to know social media really well to promote my writing and my blog. So I became quite the Twitter person. If any of you, is anyone on Twitter? I don't know if